Hi there, I'm Colin Lamb, aka the Tone Wizard, and I hope you're doing very well wherever it is you may happen to be at the time of watching this video. Before I get into my review of Junta, I just want to say that I'm going to be doing a live show this Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific here on YouTube, and on that show I'm going to be casting Gamehenge. I did a review of The Man Who Stepped Into Yesterday in my last video. It was a live show. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun talking to people, and we kind of got into the idea of casting some of the characters for Gamehenge, so that's exactly what I'm going to do on Friday. We're going to cast all the main characters of Gamehenge, so please tune into that. If you're interested and watch my last video, I'll put a link to it at the end of this video. And also, if you have some suggestions about casting and all that, please let me know before Friday in the comments of this video, and maybe I can get some of those into the show. Anyways, I just want to thank also some new subscribers: Miles, Theoretical Model Researcher, Healing Calvin as well. So thank you very much for subscribing to my channel, and if you're new here and you like the content, please by all means like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I'm also looking for some guests to talk some Phish, particularly if you have been to any of the shows on the current run. By God, I really wish that I could be down there myself. I really wanted to, but apparently I'm Canadian, if you don't know, and the American border is not, I don't think it's open for me to come down there as a non-essential traveler. So as soon as that's sorted out, I would love to get down to the show, but I'd also like to talk to some people who are at some of the runs. So if you're a regular listener or somebody new and you were down at those runs, please get in touch with me in the About section of my channel or on one of my social accounts over here, please. But let us get into the topic at hand, Junta. And in this review is going to be based around the track list from the 1989 cassette. Not the CD that was released a little later that has the live stuff on it. And the reason for that being that I didn't want to listen to another 45 minutes to do one goddamn review. No, they're long tracks. I will listen to them. I actually had them playing while I was doing some dishes after I gave the video a listen. And I just wanted to go with the original 11-track version because I figured that would probably be shorter and more digestible in the YouTube format. But let's get right into it, okay? So, Junta, a military political group that rules a country after taking power by force. As in the country's ruling military junta. Also, the album, the 1989 cassette, released by Phish of the same name. I don't know if there's any correlation there or why they chose that name. I don't know. If you have any thoughts on that, please let me know. If you know anything about that, let me know as well. But anyways, let's get right into it. I'm going to go track by track. I did enjoy this album. It's always a bit of a... It always feels like a bit of a task for me to sit down and listen to an album start to finish for the purposes of a review. But with the Phish stuff, every time I've done it, I get about 5 minutes in and I have a lot of fun because there's really a lot going on in these albums. And I'm hoping that as I move through the studio catalog going forward, it will continue to be fun. So anyways, track number 1, Free. My thoughts on this were how much rhythm stick is too much rhythm stick. I don't know what that little thing's called, but it's like the little, and it pretty much plays for the whole song. It kind of drove me mad about 2 minutes in, I'm going to be honest. But there was some really good piano stuff in there. From Page, and that kind of brought me around a couple of minutes into the song. I thought that the vocals had a weird kind of squished sound to them, and I couldn't really follow along with the story, but I did like it. And I caught a snippet that said they're taking a boat trip to Quebec or something like that, which is a province in Canada, and an album by Ween, and those are my entire thoughts on that song. That's really all I gleaned. I did enjoy it, but I have heard that one before, and it's not my favorite Phish track, which is why I was glad that track 2 was Yem, or You Enjoy Myself, because I did listen to this one fairly early on in this series, getting into Phish, which if you're new here, this is kind of what this is. A show that I started really not knowing a lot about Phish other than some preconceived notions that I had and some mean things that other Ween fans, I'm a big Ween fan as well. If you're not familiar with the channel, I do a show called Ween Talk, but basically this was one of the first tracks that I heard and actually enjoyed. And I looked into a little bit about this track. Apparently it's the most played live song that they do, and it's like played at 30%, 33% of their shows or something like that. And also Paige McConnell has stated that it's one of his favorite songs. It's fucking absolutely epic. Around 3 minutes 10 seconds, it transforms into this really proggy thing, and it's absolutely fantastic. And when I see Phish, probably not until 2022, but when I do, I cannot wait to see this thing live and then snap my fingers and go, wash my feet and drive me to Volantis. Wash my feet and drive me to Volantis. Okay, that's what I heard. I didn't look into the lyrics, but that's what I heard. And Volantis is, of course, one of the free cities located east of Westeros in the mythical, epic Game of Thrones. But that's what I heard there. If you know what they're actually saying, don't tell me, because I like singing that. I really do. I enjoyed my interpretation of that thoroughly. Moving on to track 3 was Esther. And as soon as I put on Esther, I immediately had The Man Who Stepped Into Yesterday vibes, because it's that soft Trey narration. And it's kind of a rambling story that I wasn't, to be honest with you, I really wasn't able to follow along with very well. I kind of gleaned that maybe an old man gave a girl a doll and the doll drowned her. Is that what happened there? I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you. But, you know, I was kind of hating on it when I was listening to it. But then I remembered that I once wrote a 25,000-word pornographic sci-fi novella called Porn Gully. That's a damn true story. And I was like, you know what? This is much nicer. I'm glad that someone wrote this instead of what I wrote. And I'm glad that I got to listen to it. And it really paid off at the end, I thought. There was the classic kind of Trey, squishy, compressed guitar solo stuff at the end. And yeah, I don't know. Is Esther about a murderous doll gifted to a young woman named Esther by some mean old man? Am I right? Probably not, but I'm sure Phish fans will definitely let me know. Anyways, moving along to track number 4, the Golgi apparatus, which is apparently a cell organelle that helps process and package proteins and lipid molecules. That's when I searched that, because I was like, what the fuck is this term? I found that, and I do know that a lot of Trey's early songwriting was influenced, from what I've read anyways, was influenced by some of his studies and some of his kind of nerdy companions that he had growing up. So I guess this is one of those. But I will say, during the big crescendo kind of in the middle of the songs, there's some fucking fantastic drumming by John Fishman. And in most of the studio stuff, and I'm working my way from the early stuff up until the current period, the last studio album, from what I've heard, you don't really get to see Fishman go off on the records as much. Obviously, playing in something like Yem, or later on we get into Divided Sky, there's obviously plenty of work for him to do there. But I thought his drumming in the swell section of this was absolutely fucking fantastic, and I really liked it. I thought it was kind of it's probably the only really just short, kind of straight up rocker on the album, and I really did enjoy it. Which is a bit of a juxtaposition here, because moving on to Foam, I have to say, I don't know if I'm on the Foam train. I kind of put it on and I was tempted to skim through it. It was the only track on here that I was really tempted to skim through, because it just really wasn't doing much for me. I was also about halfway in, and again, I'm sitting down to make a concerted effort to listen to this, and it's not a 25 or a 19-minute punk rock album of just, just 2-4 heavy hitters. This is a bit more of a listen to digest. And when I did listen to Foam, aka Marijuana Hot Chocolate, I kind of got a little bored. I'm not going to be lie. So while I was listening to it, I went to Phish.net, and I read that it's usually the first song. It's in the first set, and it's a song that they've traditionally played to kind of warm themselves up. And I don't know how you warm up a band. I mean, I could never play something like that even when I was warmed up. I think before my band plays, I just try and get no more than one beer in me, and make sure the drummer's not too fucking baked. That's what I'm focusing on before a show. But if these guys are playing that to get warmed up, hats fucking off to them. But yeah, full disclosure, I did skim through that one a little bit. I'm just saying. Maybe it would be different live. I don't know. But moving on to track 6, Dinner in a Movie. This was a frantic kind of chaotic sounding thing with the chant in the middle. Let's go out to dinner and see a movie. And when I was listening to this, I was kind of thinking there could be a sequel. It was something along the lines of, I don't know, Nicole, where the fuck do you want to go eat dinner tonight before we see a movie? Maybe that would be a good sequel track. I don't know. Probably not. Moving along was track number 7, which was The Divided Sky. And this is something that I've definitely heard before. Because I watched the Trey documentary, Between Me and My Mind, I think it was called. And in that, I think Trey says something to the effect that when his dad heard this song, he was really proud of him. And it was a moment where his dad kind of stopped worrying about him, because he heard this composition by Trey and the band, and he knew that his son would make it in music. It was don't quote Trey on that, but I believe that's somewhat of what he said. And it's obviously an absolutely fantastic track. And Also, the casual, like I was not even a fan, but for somebody trying to get into Phish, as was the original purpose of this series that I'm doing, I've come around to the concept that maybe Phish is like a very elaborate experiment of testing a rock audience's patience, like testing the casual rock fans' patience. Because if you stick in on a lot of these tracks, and I imagine it'd be the same way live, but there are some really fucking amazing and rewarding moments, especially in Divided Sky. The guitar work at the back end of the track is like fucking Highway Star, but better than fucking Highway Star. Like honestly, it's fantastic guitar work on the album, and I can't wait to see this shit live. But like I say, this song kind of encapsulates the reason why I think a lot of people can't come around to Phish, but should. I think that's what I would say about a lot of Phish, but this track in particularly. Moving on to track number 8 was David Bowie, and I really like this track. I didn't have too much to comment on it. The only thing I will say is that I was listening to it, and there's these little click-cheating kind of voices or background noises, and at first I thought, watch your fate and drive me to Volantis. Okie dokie. I just suffered a series of technological meltdowns during the recording of that video, and I suffered a personal meltdown as a result of those. So if anybody out there has any tips, home remedies, if you will, on how a middle-aged man can get over a technological child temper tantrum meltdown moment, please send them in, because in addition to talking about Phish, I'd be happy to talk about that. But my audio interface that I was kind of bragging about before it cut out, literally cut out because I was shaking around. I disconnected the cord. Then all my USB fucking drives reset. The computer shut down and reset. And then my webcam wouldn't fire up. And that's not your fucking problem. That's mine. But anyways, we're going to get back into this video. I was talking about David Bowie, and I was talking about track 8, David Bowie. And I was trying to talk about the little noises that you can hear there, because I thought that my device was malfunctioning. And I tried to look up what those noises were, if there were any lyrics or any kind of background info on that, because there usually is with Phish stuff. But I couldn't find anything. So if you know anything about those noises in the background of David Bowie, please do let me know. Now, moving on to track 9 is Fluffhead. And Fluffhead, when I first started trying to get into Phish, a buddy of mine who has a channel here on YouTube called Learn to Wean, in which he deliciously shows you how to cook your own wean tracks on a simple guitar. You should go check him out. But he sent me a live version of Fluffhead and Fluff's Travels, which I really dug, and that kind of helped me get in here. So I'm not going to say too much about Fluffhead, other than I'm hoping to learn that one on the guitar myself and maybe share a cover at some point of the first part. So track number 10 is Fluff's Travels. And I was kind of thinking about, while I was listening to this, I looked into it, and there's 6 different parts, and I was trying to figure out what Fluff's Travels may have been based on the 6 kind of different parts. And I don't know, the only thought that I had was that maybe he was on hold trying to have false roaming charges reversed off of his cell phone bill. And, you know, he was sitting there on hold. Somebody finally answered. He got happy. Everything got really nice. And then they're like, actually, you know what? I don't know if I can do that from my system. I got to put you on a quick hold again. And then things got dark and a little frantic and a little weird. Then they came back on the line. They're like, you still there? And he's like, yeah, I'm still here. And things get happy and take an upwards turn. And then they're like, I'm going to need to get my supervisor on here. I'm going to have to put you on hold again. And then, boom, he's down. He's angry. And then the music gets a little fervorish and things start going off the fucking rails, right? I don't know if I'm projecting any of myself into this poor Fluff and his travels, but I'm telling you, after all that, he finally gets through and they reverse the charges, but he has to ask himself, was the $40 worth the time that he spent losing his mind? You know, that's what I'm getting out of that whole Fluff's Travels thing. So let me know what your thoughts are. I could be wrong. I don't know. I could be on the verge of a second meltdown of the day myself. Who knows? Anyways, track number 11 is Contact. And it's the Let Phil Sing One track on this album, I guess. It's no Box of Rain, but it's a very good track. And I believe it's a long one. I think it may have been one of the 10-minute ones. But I really enjoyed it. I thought the vocal parts were nice. The wheels are the part of your car that I can't remember the exact lyrics, but I really, really did enjoy it. And yeah, and that would be the whole album. So after some technological malady, thank you very much for sticking with me if you have. I'm a little bit out of practice with my YouTube, as you can tell, but I'm looking forward to doing the live show, which is going to be this Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific, and we're going to be casting Gamehenge. If you are new to my channel, please feel to subscribe, as I have imported this graphic into my video. And actually, you know what? Shit, I got to give this whole album a rating. I got to finish this fucking video properly. So I gave this album a 8 severed stolen medical lab Trey Anastasio hands out of 8 stolen medical lab Trey Anastasio severed hands out of 10. 8 out of 10 hands. What more do you want me to say? I liked it, and I'm glad I listened to it. And you know what? I even had a Junta album pick ready for you that I wanted to share, but I did not because this whole fucking video has been a disaster. I'm probably going to lose subscribers after this one, for fucking goddamn sake. But anyways, you got to stick with it. You got to get back at it. And I also had some comments that I wanted to address. This was supposed to be on the screen the whole time. God damn it. I can't stop the video again. I should, but I won't. I got to get through this. On the last video, which was a review I did about The Man Who Stepped In yesterday, somebody said there is a Gamehenge video game. And I have to say that I'm such a fucking moron that when I read the first part of that, I immediately started trying to Google it or find it, or I even looked on Steam. That's how hopeful I was. And then I read the bottom and it said it was an inside joke on fantasy tour boards for at least a decade to fuck with the noobs. So yes, I'm a noob even to this day. I think by any standards I still would be in Phish terms. But hey, thank you for that, B. And then another guy, Todd Voss, who's a regular commenter on the channel, says, I know you're a fan of Simple. Apparently Phish played an all-time otherworldly Simple in the first night at Deer Creek, which was just a few nights ago. I think that one was August 8th. I could be wrong there. But as soon as I read that post, I went to Live Phish YouTube channel, and they posted it like 40 minutes ago, and I watched the whole thing. It was otherworldly. It was fantastic. It was a bit spacier than they normally are. But anyways, that is my conclusive, rambling, technologically mal-ridden, almost off the rails review of Junta by Phish. I encourage you, if you haven't listened to the whole thing through, either ever or in a while, please go listen to that. And yes, once again, please subscribe to my channel and tune into the live show this Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific. And seriously, if you've made it through this video and have watched my previous stuff, I thank you. I will try to do better in future videos.